Spider-Man is back, baby, and he's better than ever. Well, maybe it's too early to say that, but I will say he looks better than ever. I mean, have you seen the brand new day suit? It's perfect. And speaking of brand new day, and as you can tell by this title, that's what this video is all about. I think we could be witnessing a generational film because everything released so far sounds amazing, pun intended. So let's start with what we do know. We know that this film takes place a year or so after the events of No Way Home, and if you haven't seen that film for some reason, then you may be surprised to know that the entire world has forgotten the identity of who Spider-Man is. So this includes his friends and other heroes. Not only that, he's also dealing with the tragic loss of Aunt May, and now he has to work as a solo hero without the support of anyone else involved. So all this ties into the name of the film, Brand New Day, which is also a name of the Spider-Man comic reboot from 2008. We know this takes place after the events of Daredevil Born Again as well, and the reason this is relevant is due to the fact that Punisher will be making his debut onto the big screen. And it makes sense because Spider-Man and Punisher have always been associated. I mean, the Punisher was first introduced in Spider-Man issue 129 back in 1974, so these characters have a long history. But not only will Punisher be involved, the Hulk also will be involved in this film, playing an antagonistic role, which is very interesting. But for the actual villain so far, we have Scorpion finally making his return after his previous tease in an after-credit scene, and we even have one of my favorite Spider-Man villains, Tombstone, making his theatrical debut, which is honestly insane to think about. But seemingly, the biggest villain who will be involved is none other than Mr. Negative and his gang called the Inner Demons. So with all of this knowledge, let's dive into my thoughts on how the entire film may play out, or it could be completely wrong, but either way, it's fun to talk about, because what if the MCU's next Spider-Man movie pits Peter Parker against a villain so dangerous, he can twist the Hulk into a weapon? Think about it. After the heartbreak of No Way Home, Peter Parker's world is a clean slate. No Stark tech, no Avengers on speed dial. MJ and Ned, well, they don't even know he exists. This is a street-level Spider-Man, but the streets are about to explode into a war zone. So filming is going on right now, and the set pieces are wild. Overturned taxis, barricades, tanks rolling down Manhattan streets, and those armored trucks covered with the Inner Demons insignia straight from the comics and the Spider-Man PS4 game. So it's pretty much no question that Mr. Negative's crew will be involved in this film in some way or the other, and this lineup screams urban war, and Mr. Negative might be the puppet master pulling every string. Now, Mr. Negative is one of Spidey's newest villains, and he's pretty underrated to a certain degree, but Martin Lee, he runs a charity by day, but at night, he becomes a dark force-powered crime lord. We're talking super strength, crafted touch that twists the minds of heroes into his slaves, and an army of sword-wielding gangsters and demon masks. So, pretty cool if you ask me. In the comics, he's tangled with Spider-Man, Daredevil, and even Cloak and Dagger, and in the PS4 game, he nearly destroyed New York with Devil's Breath, and is responsible for the death of Miles Morales' father. Now, the kicker is, his powers aren't just physical, they're psychological. One touch, and even the Hulk could turn from green to black and white, or gray, I guess. But let's talk about theories, because fans have been piecing this together from leaks, and it's starting to sound like Marvel's going full-on crime war epic. Now, let's start with theory number one, the war for New York. The Inner Demons rise under Mr. Negative, taking over the criminal underworld. Scorpion, Tombstone, and maybe even Boomerang join the chaos. Punisher steps in. His target isn't Spider-Man, it's actually Hulk, and Punisher is rocking a badass War Machine-inspired armor with his iconic skull on the front to give him the edge in combat. But theory 2, Hulk Negative. Think about it, Mr. Negative corrupts Bruce Banner, unleashing a savage Hulk under his control. Imagine Peter, already outnumbered, having to face the Hulk as an enemy in the middle of a gang war in New York. Now, theory 3, I like to call unlikely alliance. Spider-Man and Punisher start off as enemies, with Punisher seeing Spider-Man as a liability, but when Hulk's rampage threatens the city, the two of them have to team up to take down Mr. Negative. And in the final act, we could probably get a three-way fight between Spider-Man dodging Hulk's fist, Punisher laying down cover fire against hired thugs that are being led by Scorpion and Tombstone, but Mr. Negative warping everything in sight. And if Marvel's sticking to the Brand New Day inspiration from the comics, we could also see Peter's social life collide with the chaos. Maybe Martin Lee is someone Peter trusts before he realizes the truth. And if I were in Marvel writer's room, then this is how I see it going down, act by act. Act 1, we're going to call that Alone Again. Peter's struggling to balance work at a dingy apartment, scraping together a living, while also fighting low-level thugs as Spider-Man. Meanwhile, Martin Lee appears as a kind-hearted philanthropist supporting New York City's recovery. In Act 2, we'll call that Seeds of War. The Inner Demons move in, taking out rival gangs, Scorpion resurfaces working under Mr. Negative, and Punisher arrives in New York, tracking down shipments from a man named Lonnie Lincoln, aka Tombstone, who is also linked to Bruce Banner's whereabouts. Act 3, we'll go with the corruption. Peter discovers Mr. Negative's dual identity, but it's too late since Lee used his powers to corrupt the Hulk. The city becomes a battlefield between a rampaging Hulk, Scorpion, and Tombstone, leading to Inner Demons. And desperate NYPD forces have no idea what to do in this situation. In Act 4, Enemy of My Enemy, Punisher reluctantly teams up with Spider-Man, with their goal being to stop Hulk without killing him and bring down Mr. Negative before he spreads his corruption. But Punisher, he's going to want to take Mr. Negative out for good, and Spider-Man isn't going to like that one bit. Leading to Act 5, Night of Black and White, with a final battle in Times Square. Under a black and white storm of Dark Force energy, Hulk is freed after a brutal showdown. Mr. Negative is defeated, but escapes into the shadows, setting up a sequel, and Spider-Man has to face off against the Punisher to get him to stop his rampaging madness in New York. Now, if this plays out, Brand New Day could reshape Spider-Man's MCU role entirely. Street-level Avengers with Hulk, Punisher, and Scorpion involved. This could set up a darker, grittier Avengers faction, new villain tiers. Mr. Negative's corruption power could be a future threat in Daredevil Born Again, or even a Thunderbolt sequel if they want to go that route. But Peter's next arc, he's starting at rock bottom but working his way up, and Peter's ready to finally become a mentor for Miles Morales sometime down the line. And a cameo potential. I wouldn't be shocked with Daredevil Born Again somewhere around. We could see Matt Murdock, or maybe even Kingpin, Mayor Fisk, make his appearance. But who knows? Only the future can kind of tell, and this leads into the perfect setup for Spider-Man's next chapter, a smaller scale than Endgame, but bigger emotionally. Peter's fighting not just villains, but the fallout of losing everyone he loves. He's got to earn their trust, survive the streets, and stop a villain who could turn heroes into monsters. And if Mr. Negative really does control the Hulk, this could be one of the most visually insane battles the MCU has ever done. Think No Way Home's final fight, but in the middle of a gang war at night, and every punch lighting up the city in black and white shockwaves. But I don't know. This is all just my theory. So what's yours? Go ahead and comment down below. Will Mr. Negative be the main villain? Could Hulk actually be turned against Spider-Man? Which other villains would you like to see join the party? Once again, this is Keith giving you everything you know about comics, and thanks for watching.